Hey everybody, welcome back to Labs Comic Fan. I'm Steve, and today we're talking Jonathan Hickman's X-Men. So today I'm going to talk about the first issue of the Hickman X-Men run. He started this initiative in 2019. It's a complete overhaul of the X-Men. I don't really know what was going on before then because I wasn't reading X-Men. But from what I've seen, this takes place across a lot of X titles. Started off with House of X and Powers of 10. It was a two 6-part series that interspersed with each other. They went really well with each other. There was House of X 1 through 6, Powers of 10 1 through 6, but you were supposed to read them 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. So, apparently you didn't have to read Powers of 10, but I would advise it. This is a really well done edition. If you could find it for cheap, I would get it. It's definitely recommended to go with your regular X-Men books. So the books that were in this, I got volume 1. It's a collected edition. The books that were in this were X-Men, Marauders, Excalibur, New Mutants, X-Force, Fallen Angels, Wolverine, Cable, Hellions, and X-Factor. That doesn't count one-shots or limited editions. They had stories in there like giant-size X-Men Magneto or giant-size X-Men Wolverine. So this is a huge, huge story with lots of world building. So I'm going to give a brief description of House of X and Powers of 10. I looked on the internet for like a summary, but they were so long. So I found one on Reddit. I'm sorry I don't know the Reddit user. So kudos to the Reddit user that I can't remember. House of X. Xavier brings his X-Men together in addition to previously opposed mutant factions to enact the long-planned foundation of a sovereign mutant nation on the living island of Krakoa. After taking care of some opposition and revealing mutants no longer have to fear death, which we will get into as the story progresses, everyone celebrates this historic moment. Now, Powers of 10. We learn Moira McTaggart was actually a mutant all along and has been behind the scenes of every major event in the series' history, working towards the goal of preventing mutant extinction. The first series to spawn out of this is called Dawn of X. Everything is an ox. There's House of X, HOX, Powers of 10, POX, Hawks and Pox, and now there's Docs, the Dawn of X. And we're going to talk about X-Men number 1. The book starts off with Cyclops talking to Professor X. He has his eyes closed because he's being fit for his ruby quartz glasses. He's afraid to open his eyes, and Cyclops is too relieved that he can see. And Professor X tells him, "Oh, the things I will show you." One of the cool things about this whole thing they're doing here is each book has these white pages that will tell you who's in the story, or if there's any important information that you need to know. It has these really cool dossiers and maps, and Krakoa, they have their own language, and you can actually use the cipher to figure out the lettering and figure out the messages. It's pretty intense, man. Some of the stuff that you do just to read the comic book is amazing. That's kind of goes into what I was saying. There's a lot. Hickman's into world building, and he does a fantastic job with this in the beginning. It's a lot to take in at first, but as the story progresses, it gets more into like singular-based stories, but they all end up tying in together. We cut to now, and Storm and Cyclops are leading a raid on the last Orchis station on Earth, and it seems for once that the X-Men are on the offensive. They get to the stronghold, and we get our first appearance of Polaris and Magneto. And Magneto is in his awesome white costume. They get to a door, and it's locked. Cyclops tries to get through it, but he can't because it's made of vibranium. And Magneto tells him, "I got this." They get through the door, and they are attacked by a mob of apes with PhDs, so says Cyclops. Magneto stays behind to dispatch them. The group gets to where they wanted to be and see a bunch of stasis tubes with mutants in them, except for this one that is very different, and Storm is asked to make a gateway. One of the cool things about Krakoa is they have these flowers, and these flowers do a bunch of different things. And the gateway is one you could put down, and it automatically produces a teleportation gate that leads right back to Krakoa or wherever you need it to go. And only mutants can use them. So That's pretty amazing. They open the peculiar tube to reveal a child of the vault. Children of the vault. They are not mutants, but beings evolved from a baseline human genome over a time period of 6,000 years. Their society was raised in a hold of a ship where temporal acceleration technology was used to evolve individuals into superpowered beings, kind of in the fashion similar to the creations of the Weapon Plus program. Due to genetic drift, they are separate species from baseline humans and mutants. I mean, that's a lot. That's already a lot right there. If you don't know your X-Men history, you don't know what the Children of the Vault are. I mean, I didn't. I had to go look it up. And that was actually taken from the Marvel 616 fan wiki. Storm tries to talk to her, but she disappears, and the X-Men save the captured mutants and take them home. And where is home, you ask? Like we established before, Krakoa, the living mutant island nation. And there are tons of mutants there. Villain and hero alike. We see the divide between the mutants and humans as all the kids are excited to see Magneto come back, and they ask to hear stories about how he defeated the humans and saved all the children. And they want to fight alongside of him because they think, well, what if the humans come and want to take away Krakoa because they take away everything that we have? So this little one, after they're praising Magneto, asks, he says, but what if the humans try to take it from us like they always do? He says, I'm not afraid. I won't run. And Magneto has an awesome response. And he says, you won't have to, for I am Magneto. Let man run from me. And they establish that Krakoa is all they'll need. So it's very interesting that already, even if it hasn't been that long of a time, they are totally into this. Like, Krakoa has been established for years, you know, and they're just like, this is great. We finally got something that's not Genosha. Cyclops is headed home to see his dad and brother, and we will get back to this in a bit. So we cut to the Orcus Forge. The Orcus Forge is comprised of scientists from all the Marvel acronyms: SHIELD, AIM, Armor, Alpha Flight, and 6 geneticists from Hydra. We are introduced to Director Devo, and their job is to protect themselves from the biggest threat to humans: evolution and mutants. Devo feels the human race will be left behind if evolution takes its course, so he built the Forge based on a Stark-Richards model and uses Trask's Sentinel template to put a mother mold orbiting the sun. So that's interesting. I'm wondering if the model he's talking about is maybe Saul's anvil or Saul's hammer. I can't remember which one they did in the Avengers. That was the Hickman Avengers, because he pulls a lot of things from his past stories. You can read a lot of his past stories and they all kind of tie into each other. So I was looking for a little bit of Avengers things from his last run up to Secret Wars that this could be, you know, involved with. Back at the Summers habitat located on the moon, it's explained that they can create habitats anywhere, and they all lead back to Krakoa. So we have like a lot of camaraderie here as Cyclops is talking to his dad. We got Gabriel messing with Wolverine about the temperature of his steak. We have Cable talking about guns with Raza, and we got Chode talking about tea with Jean. It's all about like the family, and it's showing like when they're together, when the mutants are together, they can do anything. So Cyclops gives his dad a flower, and his dad's like, what? You know? And he tells him that it's actually a gateway, and he can get back to the Summers habitat anytime he wants to, and he should plant it in the Starjammer's Arboretum. Okay, now we come to something really cool like I was talking about before, the white pages. I'm going to put these two up on the screen here, and we can see how the Summers habitat is on the blue area of the moon, and they have like the observation, tactical ops, gymnasium, central dining and sleeping area, hangar, turnabout, sublunar biome, pool, and gateway access. And then on the other side, you see all the different rooms. It's really, really neat how he has thought this so far through. So later after dinner, Corsair comes and talks to Cyclops, and he's like, you know, what you mutants are doing is pretty scary. Like, humans aren't going to stand for this, and they're gonna come after you, basically is what he's saying. And Cyclops talks about, well, he's sick and tired of living for things that are gonna kill him. He's gonna start living for things that want him to live. And he's like, you know what, you're good, you're right. Back on the Orcus Forge, we meet Dr. Gregor, and she's in a heated conversation with Director Devo about losing sight of the mission and not showing up for the funerals, and that's what we saw those caskets for all those men, because her husband was one of them. And she goes on about how they didn't just lose a great man, and a great leader. And she's like, it's just a shell. But she also says, you want to know a secret? I know how to bring him back. So that's where the first book ends. And I can say it's very good. The story gets pretty intense. Now the X-Men book does continue through a bunch of different books, like I said. So if you're ever interested in reading Hickman's X-Men or getting into X-Men, I would advise to get House of X and Powers of 10 and then get the collected editions, because there's so much of this huge story of Krakoa. Now, you can get the just X-Men collected editions, but I would say get Dawn of X. There's some titles like Fallen Angels, which I did not like at all. But, the other ones like X-Force, New Mutants, Excalibur, Marauders, X-Men, they were great. There were some that I liked less than others, some that I liked more than others. But all in all, as a fan of Hickman, I was very excited because there's a lot of stuff, like I said, that happens in House of X and Powers of 10. And he starts off a little bit slow. He gets you hooked in and then just, pow, kills you. It's usually a 3-part act. Now, I do have to say, he's not writing for them anymore. There was a problem where he wanted to move on to the next phase of his story, but he was outvoted and they said no because of all the stuff that the other writers wanted to tell in the other books. That's kind of what was the message I got from it. So he left. He's still there, I guess, helping or something. I'm not sure what it is, but hopefully we do get his vision and where his story wanted to go. I hope he told them, like, look, this is where Act 1 ends, this is where Act 2 ends, this is where Act 3 ends. But you know how it is whenever comics are actually making money, especially nowadays, because they don't make a lot of money. They were probably like, oh, hell no, we can't. We're not going to lose this. We're going to keep writing this. But, so, I liked it. I recommend it. And thank you for watching. Peace out.